Okay, friends, here's a cool story from, oh gosh, a long time ago now, as far as I can see. It's back when I'm guessing I was about 6 years old. Would have been early 1952. 1952. I might have been in kindergarten, maybe first grade. Back then, there were so many baby boomers that I think we did half days, if I recall right. And I was probably sitting around the house. Uh, Maybe it wasn't quite my time to go to school yet for the day. And mom asked me to come over and have a chat with her. And I walked over. Mom had a chocolate milk ready and probably a donut or something. And she said, I just wanted to tell you something, she said. Okay, if it's all right, can you sit with me a bit? And I said, well, yeah. She says, well, look, she says, I want to give you some good news. I said, well, okay. She said, so what, are we having spaghetti for supper or something? And she says, well, maybe, but no, it's not that. I just wanted to let you know that it won't be too much. Have you noticed that my belly's been getting a bit bigger? I said, yeah, yeah, your belly is a bit bigger. Uh, he- he- she says, well, that's because I'm going to be having another baby. You're going to have either a baby sister or a baby brother. But from the way this baby's, well, here, put your hand on my belly, on my tummy. Put my hand on her belly, and I could feel a kick. I said, "Whoa, what's going on?" She said, "I think that's just what I said too." I was a mouthy little kid at that in those days. What was that? She says, "That's your baby brother, I think. I don't think this is a baby girl, but I have a baby inside me." I said, "You do? Well, gosh, wait, well, whoa." She says, "Well, she says, well, I'll explain that to you basically by saying, you, a seed grew within me from your dad, and I have a baby growing. Pretty soon the baby will be born. You've seen babies." Yeah, well, she said, you're going to have we're going to have either a brother or a sister. But again, I think a brother coming, yeah, I'd say in about another 2 months, sometime in June, right near your birthday, probably. I said, well, I'll be doggone. Wow. I said, what's his name? Well, she says, we're thinking we're going to call him Ed after your granddad. I said, that's a good idea because you named me after uh, dad. And she says, yeah, your father's name is Richard, and your name is Richard, although we call you Michael, Richard Michael. And your brother, if he is, if indeed uh, if it is a brother coming, he'll be Ed, named after your granddad. I said, well, I'll be doggone. I said, well, this is great. I I don't know. I must have asked a few questions about, well, how did all this happen? And mom explained it actually rather um, down to earth. And I said, so wow, I'm going to have a brother. Yep. She says, you two will be, I'm sure, best pals. You'll have, uh, you'll have someone besides your friends to, 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 to be your friend. I said, yeah. Oh, this is good. And I said, well, now, do you think he can ride a bike and everything with me? And she says, well, not yet, but when he gets older. Right now, he's going to, once he comes out of me and is, you know, breathing and being a baby. You've seen babies, right? I said, yeah, sure. There's a few down the hall. We lived in an apartment building. Well, he says, you can help me take care of him. We can do diapers, and you can have, as he gets older, you can help feed him and teach him things, and there you go. Play with him, right? I said, yeah, wow. Well, this is going to be cool. Man, I can't wait. She says, well, be patient. She says, it all takes time. And but you'll, I think you two are going to really hit it off, huh? I said, yeah, I think we are. Boy, this is cool. You sure it's a baby boy? She says, yep, yep, we're pretty sure, pretty sure. I said, doggone, this is all right. Can I tell people? He says, well, most people know, they can see how my belly's growing, that I'm what you call pregnant, that I have a baby inside me. Wow. And I remember I was just flabbergasted. Oh gosh. And you know something? I remember the weeks went by, and I remember mom got bigger and bigger, and of course it was always a big thing. In fact, I think they got a stethoscope so I could hear his heart beating and stuff. I think they had something like that, if I recall right. And I was putting my stethoscope on mom's belly, and I could hear, you could just, I don't know, you could just hear stuff. It was probably, well, it might have been the baby kicking a bit and such. And I could definitely feel the movement. And God, I was so excited. And eventually the big day came. One day it was about 3 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden, Granddad's at the apartment, and Granddad's saying, and Mom's walking around the house going, oh, oh, and my father's putting on his clothes, and he says, and he looks at me and he says, listen, you got to go with Granddad because your mother's having a baby. Your brother, he said, I think you got a brother coming, and we've got to get Mom to the hospital. She'll be all right. Don't you worry. But you've got to go with Granddad and stay at their house for a couple of days till your mom gets out of the hospital. Of course, I start crying. I want my mom. And my father says, look, you've got to understand, everything's okay. Everything's okay. It's as it should be. You're going to have a baby brother. Be real happy about that. Or you might have a baby sister, but I think you're going to have a baby brother. Okay, because I don't think back then they had a way of really telling. And I'm not too sure they did, but with all the kicking and everything, they figured, yeah, that's a boy for sure. And Granddad, my mother and father go out the door. I remember my father walking Mom carefully to the car, and off they go, peeling out for St. Elizabeth's Hospital. And Granddad says, well, come on, let's get over to my house, which was only a mile or so away, and maybe 2 miles. And he says, listen, this is good, right? You going to be a pal and everything? I said, yeah, I guess. I'm a little worried about Mom, and I might have sniffled a little more. And he says, no. He says, women have babies. That's how it is. Nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing. You're going to love having a brother. Okay? All right. Yeah. I was a little shook. But they take me over to, Granddad takes me to the house. Grandma's waiting for me. She's got a bed made for me. Says, listen, you may as well get some sleep because it was like, yeah, it was like 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Says, and we'll talk more a little later, okay? Just get some sleep. Maybe if you want, put on your light, read a comic book or something. And because I kind of like comic books. And when you feel tired, just conk out. Or says, if you get real scared, you can come sleep in between Granddad and me. I said, well, and I think eventually I did wind up hopping into bed with them. And they, but eventually, I think we eventually all got up for breakfast, and I'm saying, geez, how's everything going? Is the baby here yet? Where is he? And she's here. Where's the baby? And Grandma said, well, we haven't heard anything yet, but your dad, once everything's taken care of, your dad will come here and tell you, okay, how things are. Says, and Grandma was a nurse at one time in World War I. And she says, listen, babies are just, They're fine. You're going to have a wonderful time with your new brother or sister, and you'll see. She says, I absolutely promise. So okay. And of course, about every other second spoonful of Rice Krispies, I was getting a little shook, and but or crying one minute and laughing the next, and didn't know quite what to do. This baby stuff was kind of new to me. I knew there was something because mom kept saying, yeah, every now and then she'd have me call me over and I'd feel the belly and the kicking. And she kept saying a baby was coming. But I thought maybe she was just kidding. But evidently she wasn't. Well, anyway, about around 8:30 or so, my father comes walking into the house, and he gives Granddad a cigar. He gives me, I don't know, he had some candy for me and something for Grandma, not a cigar, of course. And he says, well, everybody sit on down. And he looks at me, he says, you got a baby brother. His name's Ed. And I said, that's Granddad's name. He says, yeah, you're named, my name's Richard or Dick, and Richard, though, mostly. And you're named Richard, right? Richard's in your name, and for your brother Ed, we're naming him after Granddad. His name's Ed. I said, well, yeah, okay. And he says, guess what? You don't have to go to school today. Just stay home, and we'll be going back and forth. And I can tell you, your baby brother's nice and healthy. He's a little guy now. Remember, you've got to, when he comes home, he'll probably cry a lot and laugh a lot and giggle and we all have to take care of him, and help your mom. But everything will be just fine. You're going to be very happy you have a brother as time goes on. I remember him telling, to this minute, I can remember him telling me that. And he was right. That's the cool thing. He was right. I've never had a better friend than my brother. And you get right down to it. It was, I remember it was, I kept saying, well, when's he coming over? When can I play with him? He says, well, first off, you can't necessarily play with him. He's a baby. He's an infant. He's like that big. But all in due time. And he said, you'll be fine. Just stay with Granddad. I know Granddad's going to treat you well. Granddad was already slinging out the dollar bills for me. If I did a chore, I got $1 or a quarter. Maybe it was a quarter back then. But that bought a lot of candy and staunched an awful lot of tears. And all in due time. Oh, it was, I did okay with Grandma and Granddad. I milked it for all it was worth, I suppose. And Granddad saw the baby, reported back to me and said, I think he and Grandma went, and they said, boy, oh boy, this is you're gonna like having a brother. And they just kept pushing it, which, and it turns out they were exactly right. And but then all of a sudden one day, I'm looking out the window and my father's car stops. There's Mom. She's looking okay. I was worried maybe she was sick or something, being in the hospital, and she comes walking out of the car with my brother, and it was just so cool. In fact, they let me sit on the chair. They let me sit on Granddad's recliner. No, he didn't have a recliner. He just had a cushioned chair, big soft old chair. They sat me down on that, put my brother in my arms, and again I was tiny too. I was only 6, so it was about all I could do to hold him. And they just said, now move him back and forth a little, and pretty soon he's kind of looking up at me and smiling. And of course, Mom said, she says, so what do you think? I said, well, this is great. And she said, yep, You're going to have a good time, you and him. Now she says, I've got to go feed him if that's okay. Could you please give him back? And I said, well, yes, of course. And I gave him back, and Mom, I guess, went and nursed him. And my father handed me another $1. Granddad handed me $1. I think Grandma had some pie for me. And I figured this baby brother stuff ain't too bad after all. Hmm. Yep, it was quite the day, quite the time. Back in June of '52. June of '52. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends, and God bless. I hope you've had similar stories you could tell about your siblings. And my whole life, Ed has always been a good friend and a darn good brother too. Yep. I'll see you later. I'll see you later, and God bless. Bye now.